Welcome to P3 Radio.
The monkey only dances as good as the guy grinding the organ handle.
Brother.
I fly, bro. That is never stopping.
Truck goes to Dwayne.
Cool story, bro.
Footy pajamas.
Hey, genius, it's 2 p.m. Central.
PG3 Radio.
Here's your host, Josh Riley,
Get him off pig, Freddy. Get him off pig.
Richard Mullican.
And as I put you down, my pants ripped.
It's showtime. It's showtime. It's showtime.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of P3 Radio. I'm Richard Mullican, joined by my co-host and best friend, Josh Briley. Say hey, Josh.
How is it going, everybody? How you doing today, Richard?
I want to kick my heating and air guy in the nuts, Josh.
Ooh. Why? I mean, why such hostility, man?
Well, you know, you pay out some money for a brand new air unit, and you don't want to wipe your brow.
You said that while wiping your brow
Yes.
with your wet towel.
Like I'm working in the damn fields right now.
And it's not even that bad in here. I think maybe you got some kind of thyroid issue or something.
That's very possible. I'm a fat man, Josh. It's very possible. But no, man, I mean, I live, and we were joking about it earlier, I live like the Penguin. I've always lived like the Penguin from Batman Returns.
Oh, I was thinking of actual penguin.
Yeah, well, those two.
You live? Well, yeah, you might as well. You want to live in the Arctics.
I remember I used to joke about when we were younger that I used to keep the... Yeah, I mean, you knew my room was, what did we call my room?
The igloo.
Yes. We called it the igloo because it was always like sub-zero temperatures in there, even in the summertime. But the reason why we did that is like because I was so hot-natured. And it also helps if you had girls over, you know, and they were cold.
Cuddle up.
Well, that and nipples.
Oh, well. I was.
Look at Josh, the sensitive male over here.
I was going more towards
you can cuddle,
hugging up,
express your feelings at that moment. You know,
no.
maybe brush your dick against your leg.
Well, maybe you can date a doctor's daughter, so maybe you can get some fucking free checkups.
I already got free checkups, man.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
I already got free checkups.
Never
I think
mind.
we covered that last week.
You go to Karen. She ain't even got a last name. You don't call her DR anything. Hey, Karen.
Karen, my asthma's flaring up again.
Karen, got any more of them ball throat patches?
Ball throat patches.
Remember? It makes you feel like
Oh,
your
yeah,
goddamn
the hangy ball.
Nebula is going down into your throat. The
Nebula
ball
sounds
throat.
like a cracker, does it not? Like a
What'd you just call me?
nebula.
Oh.
Sounds like a cracker, don't it?
Oh. Never mind.
I got it.
Never mind.
But no, man. I mean, you pay as much as we paid for this air unit, and you're like, it should never be like any warmer than what you have on your thermostat in this house. And it is like a good 10 degrees warmer than what I have it set on here.
Maybe you should take him to Judge Wapner.
Definitely.
Oh, fuck. Judge Wapner's dead. Take him to Judge
What
Wapner's
happened?
grave.
What happened?
Well, he's like 103 years old, isn't he?
He was, maybe. I don't know. You said he died.
I don't know. He's not on TV anymore. Hadn't been since I was a kid, so I would assume he's kicked the bucket.
I want to do that Eminem line, take him on Jerry Springer and beat his ass legally. Did you ever see that show that Adam Carolla did where he was like basically taking contractors that fucked people over and showing up to their houses and shit? And did you notice that you had left out the load bearing wall?
You know, that's not good.
And you're like, wow. But apparently he got sued a lot on that show. For that show. But for defamation and stuff.
Yeah.
I think. I don't know. I could be wrong. But
Some of the opinions he was expressing were probably opinion opposed to fact.
It was the weekend. I told him I was coming back on Monday.
So you're just going to leave this shit just like this?
But there is nothing worse than having a construction company dick you around, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if you can't do anything. Like, you remember when that drunk guy hit our house a while back? And that was like 10 years ago. 10, 11 years ago now.
It was longer than that.
No, it's 10, 11 years ago.
It was in 2008, 4 or 5.
No, it wasn't.
No, I was still married. And
No, you wasn't.
I know for a fact because I came from that house. I ran to your house.
I wasn't married yet. It was definitely It was definitely 2000. I wasn't even working at the school yet. It was like 2006, 2007, maybe.
Well, I was still married at that point.
Yeah. So somewhere in there. So you're looking at maybe 12 years max. But that guy that ran into our house, we had a construction company over there working on the house, and like they put up like 2 boards over like the hole, and we didn't see him again for like till spring.
Wow.
And our insurance was paying for it, so they were the ones that basically recommended these guys. They're like, well, we'll pay for you to go here, here, and here. And we're like, send whoever. We got a hole in our house. And we went the whole winter without any heat. Like, I remember, like, February, them getting it fixed, and I was so excited. I was like, we're going to have heat, finally. But,
You might as well have had like a tent inside of your own house.
yeah.
Or
But
some
anyways, I digress. It's a little bit warmer up here than what I'd like if you spent that much money on something. But
You can dig Judge Wapner up. Maybe.
tell him my problems.
Well, he
Why would I
might
have to
could,
dig him up?
Well, he's still a judge. They didn't fire him, right?
What am I going to be like, Jeff Dunham the shit? And like, oh, you're guilty, motherfucker. Have a little guilt gavel out there.
I was just making a joke, but that's funny too.
No, you heard what he said, and then they're arresting me, and I'm like, what the fuck, man?
You're heating an air gun.
No, you just got your hand up his ass, making his jaws flap.
I can see because he's a skeleton. He's been buried for years.
Matter of fact, I'm getting the fuck out of here right now.
But wait, I'm riding with you.
I ain't gonna be an accessory to this shit. It's too hot out here. My damn point exactly.
That's the way it feels in my fucking house. Either way.
I feel like I need to turn it around. And speaking of turning things around, Josh, WWE's trying to turn things around right now. And I don't know, you kind of admitted that you haven't really been watching lately. You've just been you've kind of kept an eye on it, you know,
Through Twitter,
like
and
a bad daycare assistant. You've just kind of kept a small eye on it.
I got a mirror set up, and I play on my phone, and I can see him.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of so you hadn't really been watching it or anything. WWE, for my take, and, you know, a lot of people that are the hardcore fans will be like, no, they've been great. WWE has been just horrible lately. And the only things that I have been tuning in to watch is these Bray Wyatt vignettes. Like, one night I fast-forwarded through the whole Raw just to see the Bray Wyatt thing. And I didn't have any faith in that when that started just because of the way WWE had pulled the plug on things. And I'm like, they're going to pull the plug on Bray Wyatt's little vignettes things, and he's just going to be goofy, you know. And I'm like, crap, this is going to suck, because Bray Wyatt, to me, is one of my most favorite wrestlers in the past 5-6 years that's come out. And to see them like make him like a Mr. Rogers, and then to think that he might be left in purgatory there, like they don't do the full circle where he becomes an evil, like, you know, like what he is now. It was like just frustrating to me. I was like, I can see this where they're going to abandon it. Like Vince is going to be like, this isn't good at all. Take it the fuck off, you know?
Right.
And I'd be like, oh, man. But they kind of held up on that to the point where I think he's going to be coming back. But for the most part, the shows have been kind of like lackluster. Nothing they've done has made sense. It reminds me a lot of WCW back when it was going out of business.
And like late 99, 2000, where it was just fucking
Nothing
chaos.
made sense. Nothing made sense. It was like, today, control of the company is going to be on the line in this match.
General Rection is the WCW president for the next 34 hours.
Yeah.
Shit like that.
But, I mean, nothing they did the draft. They have the brand split. And then the ratings weren't as good as they thought. And instead of having some patience in building something, they go, fuck it, wild card rule. So Vince McMahon comes out and goes, we're going to have a wild card rule where 3 guys from SmackDown and 3 guys from Raw could appear on either other show. And Vince, just like he did when he did WCW's purchase, fucked up the line. He's like, 3 guys from Raw could come to SmackDown, and 3 guys from SmackDown could come to SmackDown.
Can come to SmackDown.
You remember that legendary line where he bought WCW and he was like, and I am coming to you on the USA, or TNN, or was it Spike? And the TNN, the Turner Network Television, or something. He screwed up the call letters of whatever WCW was on.
Yeah.
He did the same thing with this. Well, the 3 quickly became like just a mixture of a bunch of different people. Like 47 people from Raw were on SmackDown.
But from what I understand, you know, like I said, I keep up loosely on Twitter, but Roman Reigns has been the quote wild card
Yes.
like the last
Every week.
Yeah. How is that a fucking wild card?
Right.
If you know who's going to be doing it every week. That's not a wild card.
They have done that man no favors since he come back. And I don't want this to sound insensitive because we all like know somebody that's been hit with cancer or been affected by cancer. They had, and I'm not going to shit on him for that, but they had one of the best storylines in place when he came back.
Yeah.
How much more sympathy can you get for a guy after he has fought and battled cancer? Like, I mean, how long did they run that Shawn Michaels concussion angle or, or
it seemed like forever.
or Barry Windham's broken wrist or, how long did they run those angles? And they ran, he had cancer, but now he's superhuman again. It's like, no, they should have let him lose to Drew McIntyre. And he has sympathy there. And it's like, oh, you'll get him, man. But instead, they're like, nope, superhuman still. Go out there and kill him. And it's like, come on, man. I mean, I don't know. They're not doing him any favors.
Well,
they've totally killed off his character.
Just from looking in on the looking in from the outside. I say that, like I said, because I just kind of read more so than look. But it seems like that ever since the cancer wore off, like the whole. I don't
think it's wore off.
You know what I'm talking about.
Ever since he
that
defeated
shine,
cancer, yes.
That shine. That's what I'm talking
Yes.
about. Wore off the shine that he got. And he was just on top of the world. People who fucking hated Roman Reigns were tweeting, "Oh, we love you." This, and this. Like it made him a mega star for a short time.
Well,
and then
it hurt him that he wasn't gone long enough. I know that sounds bad,
right?
But you're gone for 4 to 5 months for cancer.
But what I'm saying is, he gets back. He's still on top, just the same way. People are going nuts for him when he comes back.
Right.
And then it's like the first person you feed. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was Drew?
Yeah. I mean, WWE, I think it can be very well said that they don't know how to manage heels. You think about heels that they've had. There's never been... WWE is not a company that's run by heels. Like, NWA was pretty much ran, and WCW was pretty much ran by who? Ric Flair. Ric Flair was a heel. Instantly make any babyface he wrestles. Was Luger one of the most technical wrestlers of all time? No. Was he over with us? Yes. You know why? Because he beat Ric Flair's ass.
And Hogan.
And
that
Hogan.
Was mega back in 96.
So, I mean, you're looking at Sting.
97, whatever
Sting the same way. Sting had charisma. He was over with us because of his look and his, attitude, face paint. He was just really cool looking for the 90s. And he beat up Ric Flair. Instant babyface. But WWE has the exact opposite. They have a main babyface, and then they just create these mediocre heels that are just nothing.
I honestly believe that Drew McIntyre could be something awesome.
He could.
But it's like they've just kind of left him out on his own and then paired him up with 2 other jabronis that nobody cares about.
Well, I mean, Shane McMahon lost cleanly to Roman Reigns last Monday night. 2 people couldn't beat Roman Reigns.
Well, there you go. But what I'm saying is usually they should have maybe instantly paired him with Shane and then let that build up to something. Like, let you see him metamorphosize from a mediocre jabroni type heel to a fucking, I've done all this shit to piss you off and try to end this man's career and all that, and build himself up. But it's like he's just been a mediocre guy and he's just kind of stayed there.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that can be changed. And I think from WWE's perspective, they might be a little too close. The forest, they can't see the forest for the trees.
Yeah.
And that might be why they're making this move. Dude, on Forbes, can you imagine when we were kids if you would have said, hey, Forbes is... Oh, wait, I didn't have the sound turned up. Could you imagine if when we were kids, you heard, hey, Forbes, you know what Forbes is, Josh? 14-year-old Josh?
Absolutely not.
Okay, well, can you
not
act like
14, no.
15-year-old Josh, do you know what Forbes is?
Sure.
Forbes magazine, could you think that sounds important, right?
It's a financial, yes.
Yes. Could you imagine that they would be...
I'm going to Rasslin. Going to Rasslin. Rasslin, that's Rasslin.
Not in a million years.
The thing that we got picked on and bullied about, you like that old fake stuff, even by our peers until like 1996 when the NWO became a thing and Austin became a thing.
That made everything cool.
Yeah. So
I was still very, very.
I'm bitter now about it.
I never accepted those people, to be honest.
I didn't
with
either.
you, because you can't make fun of me, and then all of a sudden the next week you got an NWO shirt and it makes everything okay.
It's only been 2 years, motherfucker. we can't do this.
Right.
But anyways, I brought that up because Forbes.com ran a article, and it was originally broke by ESPN, which that is something that we would have known as a kid. You imagine wrestling on ESPN? The only thing on ESPN that I remember wrestling-wise was Global was on there for a little while, and they had that commercial with The Undertaker and King Kong Bundy and all of the...
Well, I mean, I remember AWA and World Class.
But it meant more because it was on ESPN, because you were like, this is fucking ESPN.
Yeah.
This is real sports channel, you know. Well, they originally broke this story. WWE is bringing back two of the most influential figures from the Monday Night Wars as it gears up for a similar power struggle against AEW, as Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff have been hired as executive directors of struggling flagships Raw and SmackDown Live. So Paul Heyman is going to be your new executive director of Raw, and Eric Bischoff, who we last saw in TNA Wrestling, or Impact Wrestling, is going to take over SmackDown, and that's going to be big because it moves to Fox starting in October. Now, if you're like me, I'm going to see which one are you more excited about?
Well, I mean, really, it doesn't matter to me because we've been fucked around so much by WWE as far as false hopes and whatnot. Because, I mean, you've seen even in the past recent, 3-4 years, how many power changes as far as backstage or behind the scenes, rather. And, so-and-so, he's coming, he's close to Vince, and they're going to change everything. And then less than a year ago even, Vince comes out after he hasn't been on the TV in a long time. We're listening.
Yeah.
Everything's going to change.
That was
and
like
all
6 months ago.
This horse shit. And nothing changed. And if
Right.
it did, they're listening to the wrong motherfuckers on how to present their television show. Because, a lot of people say, "Oh, you're criticizing." Yeah. Well, could you do better? Well, I mean, I don't know, but I mean, I'm a watcher of television, and if it was something interesting, I wouldn't change the fucking channel. Now, I said I don't watch,
Right.
but even on YouTube, I don't last long whenever it's
Right.
like even a 3-minute video. I see something that don't keep
It would have been
my
like
attention.
a 14-year-old you with Pamela Anderson in the 90s. You wouldn't have lasted long.
3 seconds.
But, I mean, my thing was, it's like, and I think we had this conversation before with BT. I've never subscribed to that theory of, hey, you don't do this, so you don't know. You can't tell me how to do it. Well, I can't tell you how to run plumbing, but I know I should flush the damn toilet.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That applies to only certain things. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to go and tell a fucking surgeon how to repair my tonsils or whatever.
Right, but if you wake up with breast, you're going to be like, what the fuck, dude?
Or if I wake, you're right, or I wake up and my butthole sore.
Yeah.
So, what have y'all been doing now? You're supposed to be going down.
You're
my
trying
throat.
to tell me how to do surgery?
Were you diddling with the button while you were going down the throat? That ever happened?
And why is slut written on my lower back?
It's all this sticky.
Oh, let me get some alcohol.
It's all this sticky bullshit all over my Seymour butt gown.
But no, man. I don't know. I think as long as they give them a little bit of creative direction, that's a hell of a segue. Well, as long as they give them a little bit of creative leeway. Now, one of the reports I read today, it has been rumored, and like I said, this is all rumor and speculation. Rumor and speculation that Shane McMahon was going to end up with the WWE Championship.
I honestly,
Yeah.
that would be awesome.
It wouldn't bother me. That would
awesome
not bother me.
because he has got more,
He-
as far as anybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably your
because-
biggest heel right now.
But I think he could be better.
Yeah.
I really do.
Well,
But-
he is older too.
Yeah, but I think he could be a little more dastardly It's like he's not antagonizing the situation to a point to where Roman and the rest want to kill him. It's just you're doing just enough.
He is that heel. I mean, he's probably the best heel on Raw on SmackDown right now, or Raw. He's the best heel in WWE right now. Name a better heel. I mean, there's not really one. I mean, Sami Zayn, no. Kevin Owens, no. Dolph Ziggler, no. He is the only, but he's a McMahon.
I can't speak about Sami Zayn. I have an impartial opinion.
So you don't like Sami Zayn?
I told you the red hair. I can't like
natural heat.
Yeah, it really. I can't help it.
Your own prejudice is making you hate that man,
dude. Like I said, I got 2 redheaded children. I'm here. I'm a carrier of the gene, man. But I can't help what my eyes like.
You just pulled I can't hate redheads. I have a kid that's
I got 2.
I got 2 kids.
Look at my beard, man. It's red. But
mine's turning white. Fuck. But no, I mean, I think if they give them a little creative freedom, they'll be okay. But speaking of Paul Heyman, and I was going to say that was the one I was the most excited about. Because I think Paul Heyman, unless something has changed in the last 5 to 6 years, he seems to have his finger on the pulse of what's new. And
he's really close to it, at least.
I was more excited about that than I was Bischoff.
But the bottom line is this, and it will always be this until the situation changes. They can be executive directors. They can be fucking whatever they want to be. But in the end, it's always Vince.
Yeah.
It's always Vince.
You know what's odd about this? A couple of years back when they tried to reignite the Monday Night Wars and Impact, or TNA changed their name to Impact, and they went with Hogan and Bischoff.
Brother.
The original idea was Heyman was trying to get that job. From what I've understood.
For Impact?
Yes. And had a plan laid out. And I heard an interview where he had like a plan laid out, and he just wanted some stock. And if blah, 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 if he couldn't turn things around in so much time that, I mean, and I always wondered what would have happened if they would have went with Heyman.
Man, that would have been really interesting.
Honestly, if they would have had the money of Dixie Carter and Heyman, I think that they would be still, I mean, no disrespect to Impact. They're still there and they're still doing better now, but they're like a Ring of Honor. They're like one of these promotions that they're top tier, but they're not WWE level.
Well, they're a lot lower down the mountain than they were a few years ago.
Exactly. I mean, they're not even
back in 05, 06, 07.
Yeah.
They were fucking on fire.
And I loved Impact or TNA Wrestling just because it was something different.
Well, not just that, but it was what you didn't see in WWE, and they actually built, stars, really. I mean, especially, when Angle showed up too. That made everything better because you got AJ Angle matches, Samoa Joe,
right?
Angle that brought out the best in Samoa Joe.
Christopher Daniels in his prime, Kazarian,
Amazing Red. He had already left, I think. Yeah. By that point.
No, I mean, but still, he was in the mix every once in a while. And even LAX, that was a good tag team.
Jay Lethal was always there. They had a lot of good talent, man.
Yeah, I mean. I really think that if Paul Heyman was running that, it might have been a different. You never know what the landscape would look like now. But if this would have happened, Paul Heyman wouldn't have been around. Can you imagine? Okay, so the New York Post. The New York Post decided.
I'm going to wrestling.
Everybody's going to wrestling.
Going to wrestling.
And how do they spell that?
RASSLIN, that's wrestling.
The New York freaking Post decided it was going to wrestling, Josh. And they reported something that I sent you, and I was like, what the fuck? What the fuck is this? Do you want to read that story, or do you want me to read it?
I got you.
All right, so the New York Post did a thing on Tommy Dreamer. That's the setup.
Wrestling legend Tommy Dreamer had an incredibly dark past, but he was saved by one phone call. Dreamer recently opened up about a troubling period in his life on his House of Hardcore podcast, and a period that only managed to escape because of announcing icon Jim Ross.
So,
JR
basically brought him out of this dark period.
Pretty much, they're saying that...
now, what was the dark period? Was he overindulging in drinking? Josh? Was he doing drugs? Is that it? Did I get it?
No.
Let me think. Was he being self-destructive? Was he hurting himself or contemplating suicide?
He was going to hurt somebody.
Oh, really? Well, go ahead. Finish the thought here.
Dreamer was supposed to make his WWE debut during the company's tables, ladders, and chairs match at WrestleMania 17.
Now that's a big one.
Yeah.
That was the Hardys, the Dudley Boys.
Well, we get to that.
Yeah.
But plans changed, and Dreamer became the odd man out. The triple threat match featured Edge and Christian versus the Dudley Boys versus the Hardy Boys. That's the legendary match.
Now, what was supposed to be his line, I think? That's what I want to know.
Well, it was going to be an extreme type match.
But, I mean, was he supposed to come in there and interrupt it? Was he supposed to?
I'm sure he would probably been another tag team.
Yeah,
in
with
the
him and
mix
RVD maybe?
or some shit, But either way, that was nearly the tipping point in the darkest stage of his life. Extreme Championship Wrestling, which was ran by Heyman, had just folded, and Dreamer was back to living with his fucking parents.
Wow.
Can you imagine that? He was the Mr. ECW.
Right.
Back then, I mean, he was one of the only ones that never went anywhere. He was always that homegrown guy, and for this company that meant so much to him. Now, you got to understand, too.
That he closed the doors on.
Tommy invested a lot of his own money in the company, something he didn't have to do, But either way, as he spiraled into depression, Dreamer intended to take advantage of Texas's lax gun laws to jump the rail at WrestleMania in Houston, kill Heyman, who was announcing the show, and then kill himself.
Wow. And that's crazy that you would have that thought that, this is where it's gotten. I'm going to have to do a murder-suicide.
And not only that, but you're going to do it at a wrestling show.
Or two, have you ever had a fucked up thought, I'm never telling anybody that?
All the time.
Would you ever tell anybody that you contemplated killing a motherfucker and then killing yourself?
Ever? I don't think so.
That is ballsy, dude.
Yeah, but I mean, if I don't, I'm not saying this to get heat or anything. I'm just saying it's a possibility. But do you think that with Heyman being in the news so much, it being Heyman's name being so big right now, this week, and when did this come out?
Yeah, you're
this
right.
Week.
This week.
Maybe
it was just one of those things where
hey, Tommy Dreamer's going to be thrown in there too. And if it's true, I mean, I'm sure it's true. I'm sure he had those thoughts.
Right.
But he hasn't said anything about it until now.
And let's be honest, even though a state has lax gun laws, like Tennessee doesn't have very strict gun laws, you're not going into an event with a gun on you. They're going to wand you.
Oh, no. If you read on, it actually says, I remember I did a show there. I saw a sign that said, guns welcome. And I was in Houston. Dreamer said, according to Uprocks, or however the fuck you say that.
Yeah,
I did an indie show, and it said, I said, what's this? I'm from New York. I'm from New York.
Yeah.
I'm from work.
Yeah.
What do you mean, guns welcome? And then they said, oh, you're allowed to bring a firearm into the venue.
Bullshit. I'm still calling bullshit on that.
No, I mean, I've heard of stuff like that.
I don't think you're bringing a gun into WrestleMania.
Well, it said I was across the street from the Astrodome. When I say that it resonated in my mind so much, it did. And, I could see that in Texas. It's a little different down there.
I still don't see it in Texas. The WWE's policy is going to be, hey, won't you pat everybody? Can you imagine
This is 2001.
Yeah, but still. Yeah, you talk about when everybody's at the height of awareness after 9/11?
This was in April.
Well, but still, bringing a gun into a show?
Dude, if Tommy says he's seen the fucking sign,
I
you're
imagine,
like, oh, no. I've never been to Texas, but no. You're bullshit.
I imagine that they have, I know they have lax gun laws. We have laxer gun laws. Fuck, everybody has laxer gun laws in New York.
Yeah.
And like I said, this is kind of borderline political here, but most of your sporting events, even before 9/11, you couldn't bring a gun or a firearm in. It was just one of those things you just could not do. And
well, at being an indie show, I mean, it probably...
Exactly. You're looking at an indie show versus WWE at the time that was major, it was already being traded publicly. So it was a public company. They're not going to allow...
Even any WWE show that I went to, and I know you went to at least one before this event.
Yeah.
Were you patted down? No.
We
Was
were
I
wanted.
patted down?
We were wanted in '95 when we went and saw, or '94 when we went and saw it in Mid South Coliseum.
That was 96. And we were wanted? Really?
It was '95.
It was 96 because it was right before Stone Cold. He was on the card versus Savio Vega. That was 96.
Are you sure it was '96?
I know for a fact it was.
Lawler versus Brett was the main event.
In a cage.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And they had their program in late 95.
And Jarrett wrestled Ahmed Johnson and got hurt.
And it was...
Brian Christopher versus Tatanka.
Yeah. Either way, the first match was Stone Cold versus Savio Vega. That was the first match.
But anyways, digressing. We were wanted. Yes, we were wanted when we walked in. Metal detectors.
Maybe he's just saying it like I said. You never know.
Maybe he's thinking like he saw the sign, but I don't think he tried to get into WrestleMania with a gun.
No, he was saying he thought about it. That's all he said.
But with that said, it would have been a lot easier back then than it would be now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're 3D printing a gun.
I guess, then, yeah.
Anyways,
you do whatever you want.
That is fucking crazy, man, that you even have that thought. That not only that you have that thought, but you're like, hey, when I was younger, I thought about killing somebody. That you'd be ballsy enough to say that on your podcast.
And the thing about it was, on his podcast, he pretty much said that he was like, I will go down in history. Boom, pop. I mean, pop, boom. First, they'd think it was an angle until I shot him. I was so severely depressed and so mental with rage, I needed help. And which that's sad.
Right.
But like I said, I mean, he invested some of his very own money to try to keep things rolling for a time. And it would make me sick, too.
Well,
I mean, it really would.
It's I'm glad he admitted that it was in a dark period of his life. And it's good. And I hope nobody like kind of crucifies him for this because he admits it. You know what I mean? Because, you go back into people's past and you go into their history, and people sometimes aren't forgiving, especially in today's era.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, in 2001, we heard that you said a derogatory blah, 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 so now we want you to not have a life.
I really don't think it'll bother Tommy as much as it does other people.
No, but you never know, man. I mean, there's a lot of people that's life has been ruined for less, so in my opinion. But speaking of people that's lives have been ruined, Josh, how would you have felt? And I know I don't even have to ask how you had felt. How would you have felt? I know because how you have felt, because you've watched me open up wrestling figures here that are in the package at the house, and I've seen you cringe when I'm like, "Hey, look at this." And you're like, oh, God. How would you have felt if you would have had all those wrestling figures, collectibles, and everything stolen from you?
Don't talk about that.
Yeah.
Why are you saying that?
The reason I bring that up is because TMZ...
I'm going to wrestling.
Everybody's going to wrestling.
TMZ is...
Going to wrestling.
And they spell that.
RASSLIN, that's wrestling.
TMZ this week went to wrestling. You tell me wrestling's not hot right now, Josh? Wrestling is on fire with the indies smoking like they are right now. TNA kind of doing some good things on the lower levels. ROH, your independents, AEW,
New Japan,
starting New Japan, and WWE doing this big move this week. Now this comes out. The referee, WWE referee Charles Robinson, TMZ is reporting that he lost $55,000 worth of memorabilia.
God almighty. And that's probably, if you have to think, that's probably the bulk of his collection. Whatever's not at his house, but there's no telling. 55 grand worth of shit.
Right. Legendary WWE referee Charles Robinson, a.k.a. Little Nate, had $55,000 worth of his prized possessions stolen from a storage unit last month. And now he's on the hunt for the scumbag who took it. Robinson is a hardcore collector of Hollywood memorabilia and wrestling collectibles. He's been socking away some very cool movie and TV items for decades. And we're talking about not only wrestling stuff, we're talking about ultra rare Evel Knievel stunt cycle toys, collectible Chucky dolls, Friday the 13th action figures, Planet of the Apes lunch boxes, and WWE keepsakes.
God almighty.
I
That
mean,
makes me sad.
I imagine he had some of the old, like, LJN figures still in the package.
You never know.
But Robinson went to the police and filed a report, but so far officials haven't been able to track down the culprit. The crazy part, one of Robinson's items, a Jaws statue valued at $2,400. A Jaws statue, which we'll talk about statues in a little bit, Josh. But this Jaws statue,
I don't think we'll call it a statue.
was valued at $2,400, popped up on eBay Thursday night, but the seller's post and username was taken down before he could notice it. So you imagine that. Like, you start seeing your shit pop up on eBay, and you know it's yours. I think that's the biggest thing about stealing something valuable is...
What are you going to do with it?
Yeah, what are you going to do with it? You can't really sell it if you have a 1 in a million type item.
Right.
You can't be like, no, I've had this. My grandmother gave it to me.
You got a diamond the size of a fucking football.
Right.
What are you going to do
How
with
are
it?
How are you going to sell it? So apparently his lock for his storage unit was cut, or whatever. And the first thing I thought was Storage Wars.
Right.
some overzealous storage.
Did you pay your bill, Charles?
Yeah, some.
They made an auction.
or the storage unit manager was like, "Fuck, I sold the wrong unit."
It could have just been a crackhead. He had an auction. Now we got some kind of Rocky movie bullshit. I'm giving it away for a tube of toothpaste.
Oh man, I hate it for Charles Robinson. I can't imagine. I can't imagine having that much money stolen, or not that much. Not just the money,
Just
because, like we've talked about, I've got all these action figures here, and I've got action figures like, not to set up my house to be cased out by me personally, but I've got action figures that from my childhood that aren't worth anything. But even if they were, I wouldn't sell them just because I like having them around. It's a collectible thing.
yeah.
It's just terrible, man. But well, how about we segue out of some wrestling for once?
We're not going to wrestling.
R-A-S-S-L-I-N, that's wrestling.
We're going to move away from some wrestling. And let's move away from some wrestling by asking this question, Josh. I have a jersey,
Okay.
and it's very old. So I want to buy a new one. And the jersey that I want to buy, I'm worried. I'm worried that the name's going to change. They're going to change the guy out in another year. Something's going to happen. Where do I need to go to stop all of this anxiety I have about buying a Titans jersey for next season?
Well, I think first you should go to the doctor and maybe see about that anxiety. But
You're encouraging me to go to the doctor?
yeah, it's free. It's totally free. You
Yeah.
might as well.
Fuck it.
Well, and if you want to cure your sports thing, you can go to tinyurl.com/P3Sportswear. Now, when you go there, this is going to take you to a website called Fans Edge. That is Fans Edge. Now, what Fans Edge does is if you buy a jersey and that player gets traded within, I guess, 3 months, you return that jersey and they will give you another jersey or the jersey where your player went to. Like to the next team or whatever.
Right.
But it's called Jersey Assurance. It's the Jersey Assurance Program.
And that's only offered by Fans Edge. Josh, what is that link one more time?
tinyurl.com/P3Sportswear.
Go to tinyurl.com/P3Sportswear today and pick up your jersey and get Jersey Assurance.
It's froze. it's doing the froze shit. There we go.
Oh,
Need
shit.
to restart your computer.
Dramatic pause. I want to do some of this.
I have a true story about a young man. Lord have mercy.
Let me see if I can do the thing.
You know what it's about?
What's it about, Tommy?
Drunk and drivers.
Shit.
There was a young man come from a good family. His mother and father taught him right from wrong.
You stole my soul? Who steals
But he
soul?
wouldn't listen. He started drinking. His mother warned him not
Fat,
to drink
drunk, and
while
stupid
driving.
is no way to go through life, son.
But one night, while driving drunk, he hit a little girl.
Oh my God.
She died instantly. She told him. She told him.
Get your hand off my penis!
Not to drive drunk. You know what happened? They took him to jail.
They took him to jail?
His parents come to visit him. Oh, his mother was sad.
No shit.
She said, son,
I fly, bro. That is never stopping.
she said, son,
The toilet ain't never flushed and the cat's pregnant.
she said, son, I told you.
Catch off! Farewell!
She said, son, I told you. Let it be.
It's kind of like taking dill powder and pouring it onto your butthole.
Let it be.
He'll have to do that in prison.
Yeah.
Wait, wait.
Oh, man.
Well, let me tell you something about that.
I do declare.
I don't see how that applies, Mom.
So, why were we listening to Tommy Ellison?
Well, there was a reason. Didn't we go to school with a Tommy Ellison?
Not that Tommy Ellison.
This is a different one. He's a little older than the one we went to school with.
Much older.
The cover art for that YouTube video, that's a 7-minute song, by the way.
Well, I mean, he's got maybe, 10 words that he says every minute.
You could
'cause-
be like, all you have to say is, hey, man, don't drive drunk. But he stretched that over 7 minutes.
Well, I got a story. Boom, 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 boom. Then they got 30 minutes,
story.
30 seconds of music by a little girl. Boom, 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 boom. She was walking across the street. Boom, 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 boom. What street was it?
That's irrelevant.
What street was it?
Said that was irrelevant.
Boom, 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 boom. Then we got to do a solo. Boom, 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 boom. Then we'll get to where she was going.
He decapitated her with a bumper.
Now he's sitting in jail, and Mama told him. What did she tell him? Mama told him.
I'll fucking tell you if you stop talking.
Tighten your butthole up, boy. They gonna try to fuck you.
Well, we talk about that. Jesus.
Here's some dill powder. It's kind of like taking dill powder and pouring it onto your butthole. It'll keep them dicks out.
Oh, Jesus. Anyways, we talk about, we sent that. We sent that. We brought that
We
up.
sent that out to everybody who's been affected.
We brought that up because starting July 1st, which by the time you hear this will be today, actually. Starting today, if you go down to Memphis or anywhere in Memphis, drunk scootering is illegal starting July 1st. So new law starting today in Tennessee. 2 of them. 1, you can't be on a cell phone or any kind of cellular device without having Bluetooth or any kind of mobile device. So that's a new Tennessee law if you're driving through. It's called the hands-free law. A lot of other states already have it. Thank you, text and drivers. so you fucked it up for all of us. But also this, and this is coming from WMC5. It's our NBC affiliate here in West Tennessee. But let's listen to what they had to say. And, of course, let this be. Mama told me.
You know, of course,
All right,
drinking and driving is against the law, but starting Monday, July 1, riding a scooter under the influence will also be a crime.
WMC Action News 5's Chris Luther live now to explain the way this new Tennessee law will be enforced. Chris.
Basically, if they see you on a motorcycle or a scooter and you're drunk, they're going to beat the bloody piss out of you. I don't know why.
You'll be pissing blood for 2 weeks, mate.
Officers have been taught to aim for the kidneys. First off, before we go through this, is drunk scootering a problem for anybody except the drunk scooterer?
Well,
I mean, I know if you run over a drunk guy, you're probably going to have to deal with killing a person. But still, let's be honest. If you kill, if a scooterer is on a scooter drunk, he's already overcome so many hurdles.
Yeah, I've had some nights where, I mean, I wouldn't even been able to even keep my hand on the scooter.
You still owe me a pair of pants, motherfucker. Anyways.
You're really going Rain Man about that pair of pants, aren't you?
I ripped him carrying your ass. He ain't heavy. He's my brother. But that motherfucker ripped a pair of my pants.
I think your ass, if it was a little thinner, it wouldn't have busted
through. Maybe if your ass was a little thinner, it would have busted through. I was carrying for two there. Anyways, right now I'm in a double XL, but hopefully I'll be in an extra large if you want to get ahead of that during the Christmas break. So anyways, here we go.
Joe and Joyce, tonight is trolley night downtown, which means you'll see plenty of Memphians and visitors alike zooming about on
Does that
Lime
fucker not look like a younger version of the kid from Wonder Years?
Little bit.
Kevin's brother?
You're talking about the guy that was a producer and
Yeah.
Jason Hervey.
Jason Hervey. He kind of looks like a young Jason Hervey.
He does.
I wonder what his name
like
is.
a fat Jason Hervey.
You know, news announcers. They all have the same gimmick as a lot of them still have the same gimmick as wrestlers. They don't give their real names.
Yeah.
Like there was a guy that was on the Memphis station. He was doing like sports or something, and he sent a thing out, and he's like, "Hey guys, wanted to let y'all know, thank you for all the support. I'm gonna be leaving in like effective immediately, and my name isn't Lance, it's Mark." But yeah, there's no telling what his real name is, but it looks like Jason Hervey's. Jerson Jesus? Oh, not that one.
Jerson.
not that
Jerson
Jason.
Heavey.
Not that Jason. You didn't get it. Anyways, let's just go ahead and play. You just get it?
Yeah, I think that's old news, by the way.
Yeah, probably.
It was like last year he was doing that.
Oh.
Yeah, for real.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, has he cleaned up his ways, or is he
I have
still
no
doing
idea. I just know that my wife she told somebody about it who's a friend of hers, and she was like, "Oh yeah,
that's old shit. He's been scalding people for years."
Literally, last July 4th, she was working at the fireworks stand.
All these people with burn marks on their face.
He was at the fireworks stand trying to preach to people and tell them about the baby baptisms.
Oh.
And
baby baptisms?
It's a joke. You said that.
I was like, Jesus.
I'm trying to make it funny. You're like, for real?
Once again, my stepbrother thinks he's Jesus.
Either way, she said she had to pawn him off with fireworks and tell him to get the fuck out of there. They gave him fireworks.
Is that a church up way of saying she chased him off with a Roman candle? Get!
No,
Get!
She gave him a wad of bottle rockets and told him beat it. Sure, you want to save people. Get the fuck out of here.
He's
Go
like,
blow your
thank
hand
you.
off.
Thank you, and shakes her hand and throws a pot of coffee on her. You're healed. Surprise.
Bitch, be healed.
That's some old shit. He's not doing that anymore.
That's literally what my wife said. We're getting way off topic.
All right, anyways.
Let's talk to fucking Jason Hervey.
Bird scooters. Starting Monday, though, every rider of these scooters needs to know how much they've had to drink before they start using the scooter. Otherwise, they could face severe consequences.
Can I throw out a suggestion?
If you can't remember how much you've had to drink, you probably don't need to be riding a scooter.
Like, here's the thing, all right? You know, cars have those things, those interlocking devices when you have a DUI.
The hoses you got to blow on in the
Yeah.
box.
What about something similar to that?
Have them on all scooters?
I guess it would be too expensive.
Well, hell yeah. And you got to pay somebody to monitor all that shit? There's no
Yeah.
way.
I think honestly, you know what? Honestly, I think the reason why they're doing this is most of these big cities started this scooter shit, and then people started leaving the scooters every fucking where.
Well, it's not just that. They're arresting people at a lower rate for DUI because you can park your car, get
Yeah.
on a scooter, and drive to every bar in downtown Memphis.
Yeah.
And you're not getting behind the wheel and drunk driving and endangering. So they got to get you somehow.
Well, I'll be honest. A lot of these places, like, you know, we're fixing to go on vacation here. I know that's a shocker.
No way.
I don't go very far.
When?
But like when we go to Florida, we were there one time and they were like, we're discouraged from pulling people over for DUI unless they're almost going to kill somebody. We don't, because they had a mayor that came up to him and said, "You're killing tourism. Fucking knock it off." And that was coming from an officer down there, and we were like, what the fuck? It's like, yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. But I think
What did he say? Why didn't y'all pull over initially? Well, we just didn't want to get arrested for DUI. I'm not going to arrest you fuckers. The mayor told me not to.
They'll hand you a beer. Here, take this with you.
Get on out of here.
But anyways, yeah, I think this all boils down. They don't want scooters. Nashville is pretty much
You
banned
just
them.
made Florida sound like the most Dukes of Hazzard type bullshit town. Get on out of here and go spend some money.
All right, so here we go.
Consequences. Every day, you'll see people in Memphis zooming to their next destination. Starting Monday, scooter riders in Tennessee will be
Ooh.
considered the same as
That one
car
needs to walk
drivers
a little bit.
when it comes to driving under the influence.
Everybody they showed at least is 250 pounds.
So what we look forward to doing is placing our officers on notice to move forward to making our roadways
Nope.
safer here.
You know why I won't get heat over that? Because I'm a fat guy too. I'm over 250 pounds. But everybody they showed was also a fat fuck.
Not
that's
her.
that's probably the most thin. Let's see. Yeah, here we go.
Memphis, Shelby County.
Colonel Keith Watson of the Memphis Police Department's Traffic Division says his officers will be keeping a closer eye on electric scooters come July 1st, but he hasn't seen a major problem with drinking and scootering in Memphis.
So why even make
People
the
we
law?
talked to like the idea of the new DUI law.
I think that's probably a wise thing for not only for the protection of the person riding the scooter, but for the protection of people just walking up and down, Main Street.
All right, let's be honest. That woman's probably hadn't had a drink since 1965. And for another thing, have you ever been ran over by a scooter, Josh?
No.
You know why you haven't? Because you can step to the left or the right, I don't know, fairly quickly and just move out of the way.
It don't take much, really. I mean, I think it's all bullshit, and it all boils down to money.
Yeah.
We're not arresting people, like I said, for DUIs as much. Look at this shit. We can make money this way.
Nashville's layer.
The Nashville layer.
The Nashville layer. No, the Nashville mayor has banned these
scooters.
Yes, because people have tripped over them, sued the city because they have contracts.
Oh my god!
I mean, so people like you see them out everywhere. They're just everywhere, and you can't get around. And it's like people just leave them just laying on the road, and they're just kind of an eyesore. So I think that's part of the reason. But let's see. Let's hear what this guy has to say.
Sure that nobody gets hurt, and you're getting penalized for being reckless while drinking and technically driving a scooter.
The penalties for driving under the influence on a scooter will be serious and the same as a DUI behind the wheel.
That's bullshit.
Including between 48 hours and 1 year in jail.
That's bullshit.
Between $350 and $1,500,
Give you
and
a
a
year in
1 year
jail.
driver license suspension.
That's fucked up. You get your fucking driver's license
Right.
suspended if you get pulled over on a sidewalk,
Right.
on a fucking scooter, like something you push with your foot.
That's
God
fucked
damn.
up. In some cases, and I know not here, but I saw a report where a guy had gotten pulled over in Pennsylvania for DUI. Amish guy. Horse and buggy.
Wow.
Here it wouldn't be illegal.
That horse botched that shit so bad.
Keep it together, Trigger.
God damn it, Mr. Ed. What the fuck? You let me down. Giving Mr. Ed some of that moonshine.
Could you imagine how
That
pissed
motherfucker was so drunk his horse was drunk.
when I get out of this damn jail cell, fucking Trigger's gonna be glue. Fuck that horse.
I'll mail your ass to Canada and I'll make hot dogs from your motherfucking ass.
They do that in Canada?
They sure do.
Horse hot dogs?
Well, there's a lot of French people up there, and
I feel like you just insulted a lot of people.
dude, you can look it up. Canada and France are like two of the biggest consumers of horse for food. Wow. They eat horse meat.
Do they have wild horses there though, right?
No, I mean they're just like cows probably. Like they have probably horse farms where they
I've
make
never
them for
heard this.
meat.
Are you sure?
Yes. Just because you haven't heard it doesn't mean it doesn't
No, I don't mean it
exist.
don't exist, but I mean, are you sure that you've got the countries right?
Yes.
Because it doesn't seem like something a sophisticated country like Canada or France should be doing.
Well,
like, if you told me they were doing that in like, I don't know, pick a poor country.
Pick a poor country.
North
How about
Korea.
that?
If you told me they were doing that in North Korea, I'd be like, yep, that's about right.
They're like eating people there probably. Grandpa just passed. He always had a fat ass. I bet that'll cook for 30 minutes. Be good.
Grandpa, we're going to have to ask you to think of the lives of everybody else. Before
We're
you
gonna need
pass, could you do some squats? Really get that ass going.
We're going to need to put Grandpa on an all corn diet for the next 2 weeks before he dies. Then we're going to pull the plug on him.
Get that morphine out of here. I don't care if it makes him feel better. It makes the meat gamey.
It gives me a headache every time I fucking eat that shit. Don't give him anything like that.
I think
But yes, they eat horse.
Jesus.
And it's very fucked up. And people, I've seen interviews, like people have been talking about it on different videos and shit.
Right.
And they were interviewing people on the street, and the interviewer was asking people in America, they said, would you ever eat a horse? And most people were saying no, but I think it's because like the way that we look at horses, we kind of look at them like dogs and stuff, where they're a companion, opposed to the way we look at a cow or a pig or something like that.
Right. I mean, I guess. I mean, I know in like India, they look at cows like.
I'm just saying the way we look at, just our perception in America.
Either way, I think that this whole scooter thing, I don't know. There's a lot of laws I agree with. I'm okay with it being a hands-free state, but to hit people up on a scooter.
Now, how crazy they will be enforcing that law, it's to the officer's discretion probably.
Right.
But there's going to be some of them that's going to be crazy with it.
How about we stop the shootings on Beale Street every once in a while?
Nope, we police the goddamn scooters. It's the motherfuckers on the scooters. They're doing the drive-bys.
I hadn't seen a video in a while now. That's probably not fair, but I have seen video of people on Beale Street firing shots. Like, that is for real. A couple of weeks ago, there was a video of a bunch of people busting through the barricade to get onto Beale Street because they started like IDing people and doing like little like checks on them to see.
Yeah.
So
I remember one of the last times I went to Beale Street. Not to say that this guy's a demon or anything, but he was just walking along and he walks by us, and my wife's like, "Oh my God!" I said, "What?" And then I look again. He's smoking a blunt, and you can smell the weed
Right.
as he walks by. And this guy, he's walking by cops. He's walking by.
Yeah.
He doesn't give a shit because, I mean, granted, he's minding his business and whatnot, but that is wild as hell when you think about the way things are in Tennessee.
at some point, dude, you're gonna go with me to New Orleans. I don't. It might be after your kids are grown up and away from the house or whatever. But me and you are going to go on a guy's trip to New Orleans and go to Bourbon Street. It is Beale Street times like 20 without all of the craziness. Like, I say craziness, it's not violent. Like, but there are titties everywhere because people are flashing. Public drinking. It's 2 miles of a strip that you just basically walk down and you just drink and
I'm not
walk
checking
around.
any of the boxes right now.
You don't want to see titties?
That's
fun.
I sleep beside.
What about the dicks? Is there any dicks in there?
I sleep beside a set every night. I mean, if I just lift it up and peek if I want to see some.
You gonna take the Christian married man approach
I'm
on
just
this?
saying, you asked me a question, I'm answering.
As a man, that picked 8 out of 10 felons he would fuck.
Look,
you're not telling me that you wouldn't want to see some live titties?
I'm not driving 12 hours just to see tits. That's something
7 hours.
way below me.
It's 7 hours, and it's a good time.
I don't drink. I mean, I'm not.
We'll get you drinking
checking
that by
anything.
then. By then, the kids will be grown up, and you can drink again. And we'll go to Bourbon Street, and dude, but I mean, you walk by people smoking.
I don't think you're getting what I'm saying.
I don't smoke. That's the thing. I don't smoke weed. But you walk by and you just walk by and you're like, man, this whole neighborhood smells like weed. And the cops are sitting there like, what are you going to do?
Well, they're pretty relaxed down there. I think it's decriminalized in New Orleans anyways. But either way, I see what's next on the agenda. And
you want to brush over it real quick?
I don't like the wording that you're using on it already.
It's a weird statue.
It's not a statue.
Well,
what is a statue to you? Like, what is the definition
a concrete
of a statue?
structure that's heavy. And it doesn't have to always be large. It's just a statue.
I know, but like when somebody says statue, what do you think of? Something of importance? Something being remembered?
Not always importance.
Would you say like, hey, look at... well, I don't know. I was going to say something fucked up, but that wouldn't be a statue. But this is a what do you call them? They're like just a yard ornament. That's what it is.
It's kind of like a garden gnome, but it's all concrete. Like, so it's heavy, like a statue. It's just, it would be like a statue for Vern Troyer. So you're telling me a Vern Troyer statue wouldn't be a statue?
Half of one, maybe.
And you can look on our Twitter. I'm sure Josh will post this out while I'm gone this week. But look on our Twitter. There will be a statue picture of what we're talking about.
Statue is a noun. A carved or cast figure of a person or animal, especially one that is life-sized or larger. Yeah. This is not that.
We'll let the audience decide. This is why I say that. Okay, let's pull up the picture real quick. And if you want to see this picture, I'm sure Josh will tweet it out. Our Twitter is P3 Radio 1.
Yeah, regretfully, I will tweet it out. Yes,
you'll tweet it out this week. If you're listening to this, it'll probably be tweeted as a picture with... So
I don't know if I'm going to attach that to us.
Come on, do it.
You need to post that on your personal.
So here's what happened. My mother-in-law had a family member that I think passed away in Mississippi, and they were cleaning out her house.
Where were they from?
Mississippi.
Okay.
So we're talking deep south. And we know this is fucked up. So, don't kill the messenger. And they were like, here, we want you to have this. And she was like, oh, okay. So, have you ever seen those little statues of the little boys that have a fishing pole, and they usually put them by lakes or something? It's just a little fishing boy, I guess is what it's called. I don't know how you would, if you want to do a Google search and see if it's there, Josh.
I don't think you should say it like that.
But it's a picture, it's a statue of a little boy.
Fishing yard ornament.
But the picture of this little boy that we have, Josh, you want to explain it?
I think you should. I mean, I'm scared to explain it, Richard. I mean, okay, look, here's the brass tacks of it.
All right.
It was acquired from a family member
that passed. They were cleaning out.
Now that would mean that they're old, and their views were probably a little different from people's views now.
Right.
But either way, I think
so. They used to have these little statues.
The statue of this little boy, he used to be a black man,
African American,
and for some reason, these people painted this little guy white and redid his hair.
I'll be honest, they did a damn good job with the white paint. Like, better than White Chicks, with the Damon Wayans movie and stuff.
Yeah, it looks real.
It looks legit if you see the picture. But there's certain features of it that are just creepy. Like, no, I'm just saying, don't make that face. I'm not. It's just creepy looking. It looks like he's got like a Pete Rose haircut for one. He's got these wide eyes, and the fishing pole that was on there broke, apparently. So it looks like he's double fisting his small dick.
And it's not poking out of the top.
No, it's not. Because he's holding his fist in his lap, like doubling it. So they put this motherfucker in their garden. And, like, you walk around this big bush. Like, I don't know if you can see it. Like, at the bottom right corner, there's this, like, leaves. That's a big, like, 3-4 foot bush that's sitting at their house. And when you come around the corner, it's like, surprise, motherfucker, I'm whacking in the bushes.
You think it's some random stranger jacking off in the bush.
But... yeah, they obviously painted this poor school. And they did a damn good job painting him, but there's so many racial fucked up things.
They got a little bit of white on the overalls. Look, they did.
Oh, shit. You didn't tape off the overalls. But the reason...
I'm sure they weren't saying that while they were painting it.
This damn thing is creepy. We talked about going over there with some paint thinner, making it original color.
We're gonna restore it to its original finish, I guess you'd call it. I bet your father-in-law bet, what the hell? Somebody didn't do what?
Somebody didn't paint our statues.
That'd blow his fucking mind. We ought to do that.
What if we stood on your dad's side?
My dad would be like, what the fuck? Somebody leaving shit on my... You don't fuck with his lawn.
Dude, I found the original.
Don't get upset about it.
Is that the original? One of these two?
They got feet crossed. No.
But you see what I'm talking about here, right?
Yes, that's it. That one right there. Oh, man.
That is the original one.
That's not good.
No. Maybe we should get a... I wish our computer wasn't freezing up right now, or we could look at it and really dissect this. But yeah, that's the original, dude.
I don't see a fishing pole in his hands either.
Okay, I'm going to say what we searched. Should I say what we searched?
I mean, if you want to.
If you look up images on Bing.
I think maybe we could make a before and after.
Yes.
You want to do that? Yeah, that's what we'll do.
I don't know. That seems like we'd be treading hot water even worse.
Well,
that is it, though. I'll be damned if that's not it.
That's it.
That looks like it. Oh, my God, dude. So we found the original version of the statue. But apparently this was a thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and
I don't want to sound bad. Little black boy fishing statues. If you type that in, you'll find it. I don't know why this was a thing, but it was a thing. I don't know why the kids always had to be black, but it looks like it was a thing. And apparently this one Mississippi woman did not want it to be black anymore and painted it.
She's related to you.
No, not related. Dead and by marriage. Two or three times.
There ain't no blood.
Two or three different marriages. I think we've already realized that the people that aren't blood related to me are pretty fucked up, including...
At least the ones that we've recounted.
Right, you're right. So now we've got Jesus... everybody's trying to kill me, and we're going to paint that black statue white.
Yeah. Oh, okay. She's a vegan, too.
Yeah, I think I saw her today, by the way. I tried to...
Did she shoot at you? Or she pop you with that restraining order?
Throwing fucking soy at me. Soy! Soy! And bad juju. Anyways.
The power of veganism compels you. Throwing fucking soy at you.
We don't have time to do the what ifs today, Josh, but we do have to get out of here.
How about what if we never talked about those statues?
Yeah, I'm okay with that. But look up that picture on our Twitter. Which, Josh, what is that Twitter again?
On Twitter, we are at P3 Radio, the number 1. And if you want to search us on Facebook, you can go to your search bar, type in Pop Poncho, and you're bound to see our profile picture come up. And if you want to get to us the old-fashioned way through a telephone, you can text us, call us, leave us a voicemail 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Our number is 731-300-6675. A
little something special next week. We will not be a live show. Our 100th episode will be our tribute to Brian Christopher. And we're asking everyone to please comment, like, share, retweet We're going to put this one on Facebook. We don't normally put our shows on Facebook. We're going to post this one on Facebook. Been talking to BT for his Shooting the Shiznit show. He's going to simulcast it. So this is going to be out there. Help us get the word out. Not only just for our show, but just hearing these stories. Pretty fun stuff. And I'll be interested, even though I put it together and Josh and me did all these interviews and stuff. It'll be nice to hear it back when it comes out. It's already up there, but it's not out yet. It's not public. So that'll be public next week. So please help us out. Get the word out on that. If you like it, if you didn't, if you'd like to hear more stuff, just let us know what you think. But that's going to about do it for us. For Josh Brodie, this is Richard Mulligan saying thanks for listening and good night.